Lord. 'Cause you are unflawed to me.
You're perfect.
You mean what you say, Lord. And you say what you mean.
Watch this.
I'm so glad that your love, it doesn't change. Yesterday, today, and forever the same. I'm so glad that your love don't come with strings
attached.
That's why when I call you by name. Now I've known some folks, including myself, who could not help but to break their promises.
But not you.
But you give me the power.
Make me possible
to prove my words by my love. I'm so glad that your love, it doesn't change. Yesterday, today, and forever the same.
I'm so glad
that your love don't come with strings
attached.
That's why when I call you by name.
Faithful.
Oh
Lord,
where would I be without your word? To see me through. How can I be more like you?
And learn to love.
Just like you do.
'Cause this the part I love.
Hey, you never, ever change. 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 You never change. I'm so glad you never change, Lord. Always the same every day. So I say, you're faithful, you're faithful.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. This is Orlando Presents Sunday Music. We started this show off last week and just was playing some music, just getting into the groove, playing some worship music. And just to let y'all know, that song right there was sent to me by King David the Vessel. Shout out to King David. You can look him up on SoundCloud. You can look him up, I believe it's yieldmusic.com. Also, the name of that song was called Faithful. It really, really, really touched me in the right place, touched me to my heart, and I really love that song. I'll probably play it again a little bit later on, or I may just play it as the outro, so you will be hearing more of that song, Faithful, by King David the Vessel, and shout out to King David once again. But like I said, Orlando Presents Sunday Music, and we have a special guest today. We usually wouldn't have guests on Sundays, but I had to make an exception for this person here. So, she's been around for a long time. She took a hiatus within her career, came back strong. Be ready for her album that she's working on right now, which is called God Banger. She's looking at being released in 2015. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Kingdom Artist Shik.
What up, what up, what up?
All right,
Thanks a
all
lot.
right.
Thanks a lot for having me on, Orlando. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh man, it's my honor. It's my honor, definitely, man. I mean, I was seeing different things on Facebook. That's how I get to know different people. I see what they're posting, see what they're doing, see where
Right.
their heart is and everything. And then, God just lets me know, like, hey, go ahead and reach out to this person, or, reach out to that person, or see what they're doing, or whatever, whatever. Sometimes it ends up that we're having an interview, and sometimes it'll just end up with the person just sending in music, and that's fine too. So,
Right.
you know,
That's
um,
awesome.
so for people that don't know you, Chic, let me know. Well, first,
Okay.
I'm gonna let everybody know, because I'm a person that, hey, I have to be stand up guy and let you know my faults. I'm not a perfect person, but this is how me and Chic actually met. We were friends on Facebook, of course, and
Okay.
Facebook popped up and said, "Hey, it's Sheik's birthday." So I said, "Okay,
Oh,
cool. I'm gonna send a message." I sent a message. I say, "Hey, bro, happy birthday." I received a message back. Thank you, but I'm not a bro. I was like, dude, if I could have swallowed my heart and like dug a hole in the ground, I was
sure, sure.
I was that embarrassed. I mean, even though you didn't even put the message on on Facebook where everybody could see it, you did it discreetly. You put it on, you
Yeah.
instant messaged me. And I'm sitting there like, dude, I was so hurt. I'm like, man, no, I did
No,
not. I was
it's all
hurt. I
good.
was like, wow, dude. I mean, I was just hurt. Like I was hoping I didn't hurt your feelings, or, it didn't
No, no,
offend you in any
absolutely.
way. So,
Absolutely. So many people do it. I think they just see the name and just assume, even with my profile pic that's up there, which is not, of course, a picture of me.
right.
But so most people assume, I guess they see the word kingdom, so that may throw them. So I get it from so
Yeah.
many people, females and males. Hey, bro, and I'll just drop a pic, and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it." So no hard feelings at all. Absolutely none.
You said you just drop a pic on it. Be like,
Yeah, it's
I'm not
like,
gonna
hey, I'm
say
your
nothing.
sis,
I'll just send
right?
you a picture.
Right. I'm like,
Now
no,
does
I'm your
that
sis. It's all good.
now does that look like a man to you? Oh, nope. Take it all
It's
back.
all good. It's all good.
Yeah. It's all okay. Well, so we'll sweep that under the rug. Nobody else knows
Yeah,
except for me and you.
definitely,
But
definitely. It's buried. It's buried.
now, a couple of things out of your bio. I like to just jump right on into the interview. Get the feet
Sure.
wet. But
Let's do it.
one thing about your bio that I looked at is that one, you were surrounded by entertainment. Every
Mhm.
pretty much what everybody in your immediate family was talented in one form or another.
Absolutely. Started with my grandma, who raised us. My grandmother and my mother, raised us. And my grandmother was from the South, Mississippi. So she would be
Mm.
playing that old church music, that same little riff, dum 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 dum. That little church riff, and which is funny because we weren't raised in church. Nobody went to church, so she would play
Wow.
that. She would play that on the piano, play her blues, and be singing. And my mom could sing, my dad could sing. Even though he wasn't in the house with us, but he was a part of our life. He could sing. He was
Mhm.
in a singing group. My mom could blow. So it's like naturally it was around us. We would dance, we would sing, anything. We were just an entertaining family, who kind of pretty much self-taught instruments if we could, little tickle here and there. My cousin, he's a productionist. So you couldn't escape it.
Mm. Okay, cool. You get the vibe going on in the family and everything.
Yeah.
So y'all never put together like a family band like the Jackson Five or anything like that?
Nah, nobody had that type of discipline. Again, we were just a lively family. We did sports. We did so many things. Everybody was going in their own direction, pretty much. But for me, my heart was always at the center of rap. I could sing as well, but rap was like what did it for me. My cousin, he was hardcore. He would rap. And I'm like,
Mm.
man, I feel like you're telling a piece of my story too. And so the first time I heard MC Light, like she bringing it in the passion or in the realm that I would do it. She saying it hard, like these mean streets, mean life. So she was
Yeah.
probably the first person I could identify with that would tell a story like I would tell it, pretty much as people would say hardcore, but I wasn't trying to be hardcore, just how things came across. passionately, things I've seen and experienced. So, so I wrote my first rap when I was like 9 and kind of left it alone and wrote a real rap when I was like 14, and it was, just spilling out my gut. So, yeah, it kind of trickled from there.
So it says that your first, your first recording and everything was Let 'Em Go. So how did that feel to you? What was the concept of that song, and how did it feel to you to actually write something and it was received, very well?
It was shocking. Again, this was way back when I was a secular artist, before I even knew Jesus. I knew nothing about Jesus. I was so far away from Jesus, didn't know anything about him. So I did that. I was actually in a singing group where I would write and arrange a lot of the songs with me and my friends from high school. And so after high school, we, on that whole thing, we're going to make it big. We're going to hang out in Hyde Park, get discovered by R. Kelly type thing. And so I was a singer and a rapper. So from there, long story short, I met a guy who moved to Chicago. He was a producer, and so he gave me the concept, Let It Go. He wanted to redo Teddy Pendergrass's song, Let It Go. So Let Her Go, and so we did a flip version. I'm going to let him go. And so I wrote to it. He presented it to a lot of radio stations. They took it, ate it up. Before I know it, it's in regular rotation. Before I know it, everything just took off, from there for me. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Outstanding. So, one thing that really, really, really jumps out at me, I don't want to jump around and everything, but, the hiatus, the 13 years that you were away from music and everything, what was going on in your life? Was that, a breaking point into finding out who Jesus was, who God was, or what was going on that you had such a long hiatus?
Yeah, absolutely. Just dealing with a lot of things. I lost my mom when I was 13, so my mom died when I was 13, a few months before her, my grandmother, a few months before that cousin. So I dealt with a lot of those things that kind of turned my life. So by the time I was about 24, I want to say, that's when it began, to change for me. I was, performing everywhere, literally everywhere. And it just wasn't fulfilling. I didn't know God. I was raised actually in witchcraft, when my family worked witchcraft. So that's what I knew. I had a bunch of anger, a bunch of issues, took to the streets. Now I'm hustling. Now I'm doing what I need to do to survive, because, hey, got to put together money for this music, got to do what I need to do. And so that was the breaking point, that led me to Christ. Nobody led me to him. He led me to him. I didn't know, so, and I got saved. I was at my cousin's house. Funny story. Sunday morning, I was at my cousin's house, spent the night at her house. And I was in the room. I remember I was under the covers and she had a TV on really loud. She came into the room, turned the TV on loud. I think she called herself evangelizing me at some point. And it was like 5 a.m. And I think a man named T.D. Jakes was on, and I heard him say at the end of whatever it is he was preaching about, hey, if you don't know Christ, and it was at that moment I'm under the covers, and I literally see my entire life flash before my eyes in a few seconds. And so under the covers, I'm like, well, look, if you're really real, I'm going to do this. If I can get through the day with you leading me, with you really, having a relationship with me, then we can do this, And so every day it's like, well, if we can get to the day, can we get through tomorrow? So I said the prayer of salvation. I really did. And I've been walking with him ever since. He's been God ever since, and that's how my relationship began, under the covers.
Man.
So, yeah.
Well, I think that's where I think, and metaphorically, I guess all of us are under the covers until we, raise our heads up and he allows us to see clearly. So
yeah. And I needed him, and I needed him. And I dropped the music, thankfully my contract was up with, the company I was with, the people I was with was up. So I didn't owe anything, they didn't owe me anything. So at that time, I didn't know God. So everybody was like, well, you should do gospel music. I'm like, well, I don't know him. And I don't know the gospel in order to do music. You know what I'm going to say? So I didn't do music at all.